Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching Coffee with Keep Arizona Blue Student Coalition. My name is Claire McCartan, and I am the digital director of this organization. Today, I have the honor to be sitting down with Senator Marsh. She's a proud 30-year plus educator, and she also was Teacher of the Year in 2016. Thank you so much for being here today, Senator. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very happy and honored to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. So my first question for you is, as the longest session in Arizona history just ended, what are you most proud of this session?
I think that I'm most proud of some aspects of the budget. Obviously, the budget was highly controversial, but we got through some really, I think, amazing things that will help general Arizonans. I mean, we got 150 into the Housing Trust Fund, and we were able to establish a new fund that where we put 60 million, which is called the Homeless Shelter and Services Fund. We expanded kids care, and I was really proud of that, especially since my former seatmate, former Representative Kelly Butler, had been fighting for the expansion of kids care for years, for the entire time that she was in the legislature, which I think was 6 years. So, again, it was controversial. It was a compromise. I mean, that's what it is with divided government, but we got some pretty solid aspects of progressive priorities into the budget. And I was really proud of that.
Yeah, that's something to be proud of. Next question for you. As someone who has spent their career in education, what long-term goals do you have to ensure that the youth of today are well prepared to engage as informed and active voters?
Well, for the active voters part, to me, it's a broader conversation just about like education in general. And my long-term goal is to reduce class size. We have the highest or as good as the fourth largest class sizes in the entire nation. Like the fourth largest being the best I've seen of any source in recent years, and the flat out largest class sizes you're going to find also in some sources. And I would like to see that come down, the class size. How to engage young voters. It's interesting because now, as a legislator and as a teacher, I have to keep the politics. I mean, I always did, but I mean, I
Yeah,
really now
yeah,
can't go anywhere close to advocating for really anything in that space as a current teacher, even though I only teach one class still in the classroom. But I'm very supportive, and I know that this will happen at the high school where I teach. The groups that come in, the nonpartisan groups that come in and register our young folks to vote. When I'm back in high school, but I was a number of years in middle school. And when I was in high school before at Chaparral High School, we had that. And it happened because every student has to have English, and I taught English. It came through the English classes where every student got registered to vote, or every senior, and if they weren't quite old enough, filled out a postcard that was sent to them close to their birthday. So as a reminder to go register. And I'm so supportive of those types of endeavors, and would love to see that all over the state. And maybe it already is. I mean, I'm not sure. I can only speak to my own personal experiences, and I know that there's certainly no legislation that would require that, but
yeah.
I would absolutely love to, at the very least, make sure that all of our 18-year-olds or those who are going to be turning 18 are registered to vote, or ready to be registered to vote, as the case may be.
Yeah, that's very important. In your opinion, what are the main barriers preventing young people from getting involved in politics?
I honestly, I would like to talk to you about that to find your answers
Yeah.
because we, in our legislative district, we work really hard at it. We had a program with our interns. We had a competition where the young intern who could reach the highest number of, I think it was 18 to 22-year-olds or something like that, won a prize. I mean, we are really trying very hard to engage the young voter, but they are like an elusive unicorn. I mean, you go to their houses and it could be, a registered Democrat young person who is part of a Republican household
Yeah.
uh, and not always the most welcoming doors to knock.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are off in college, even though that their permanent address is with their parents. They're off in college, so yeah, it is such a challenge, and I am open to hearing any solutions that folks come up with, because we've certainly tried in our legislative district, and I think with some success, but obviously I'd like to see more engagement among our young voters. And I think that one of the primary barriers is probably just being overwhelmed with their own lives and school and just disinterested. I'm sure that the divisive nature of politics has exacerbated this barrier that is there. But I don't think it's caused it, because this is a problem that we've seen even before the divisiveness of politics. But yeah, I'm all open to solutions. So
Yeah. It sounds like you guys are doing the first steps is making young people in the room and getting them involved. But also at Keep Arizona Blue, we really try to connect the young voter with issues like climate change and school safety. And then we're like, hey, this candidate also cares about that. And that's how we kind of connect the two. That's kind of what we have found has been successful with working with young voters. But yeah, so it's definitely an ongoing issue, that is 100% for sure.
yeah, and I don't think there's going to be one
Oh, yeah,
magic wand that's going to solve it, right? It's going to
yeah,
take a whole bunch of smaller measures to at least mitigate
yeah,
the situation.
100%. Moving on, so with Governor Hobbs signing this proposition, can you explain to students watching this what Prop 400 is and why it was so important that it was passed?
Yes, Prop 400 is a transportation tax that was implemented 40 years ago, and it comes up for renewal every 20 years. So this was the second time that it has come up for renewal. It is not a new tax. It is an extension of the tax that has been in place for 40 years. And it deals with all of, or not all of, but the almost all of our infrastructure needs. I mean, that's where the 51 freeway came from, the 101, the 202, the 303, light rail, increased bus lines, bus routes. So extending that was really very important. And it is another, I didn't mention it before, but it is another issue about which I was really proud. Again, it was a compromise.
Yeah,
So there were a lot of things in the bill that Democrats didn't like, and there were a lot of things in the bill that Republicans didn't like. But it was absolutely necessary to get that across the finish line. And I'm just really grateful that we finally did, even though it took, it made this the longest session in history, because they kept kind of pushing off the vote and pushing, for more discussions to be happening behind the scenes. But yeah, very grateful that we got that across the finish line.
great, thank you. I know there was some confusion out there of what exactly it was, so thank you for clearing that up. So now we're on to the fun questions. What is your favorite coffee shop in LD4?
I really like the coffee plantation, which is on Shea and Scottsdale Road,
Okay,
back in there by the Harkins 14, Shea 14 movie theater. You know, it's a big space. So I try to have meetings in local coffee shops. I just actually came from one at Lucy's Marketplace on Bethany and 16th Street. And I really like that one as well.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know, I'm a little partial to the coffee plantation.
Okay, I have to try that. That sounds really cute. So since you're not in session, what does a typical day look like for you?
I get up at about 4:20 and run and take care of, now I only have one foster kitten, but I foster kittens and take care of the kitten who actually is ill and has high needs. So this is, you know, what it looks like in these most recent weeks. Then I go to school. When I come home from school, it's still mid-morning because I'm only teaching the one class, and I grade and or catch up on Senate email. And then it really varies. It's off to different meetings. Like I said, I just came from a meeting at Lucy's. Um, and it just really depends on what's happening that particular day. There is not a standard day other than the very early morning where I get up, run, go to school, come back. And then, you know, I'm also mentoring new teachers through the Arizona Teachers Academy. So yesterday I spent part of the afternoon in a kindergarten classroom with the brand new teacher that I'm mentoring, which was such a joy, coming from, you know, high school juniors and seniors to be in a class for an extended period of time with kindergartnens. So
Yes.
yeah, there isn't a typical day. Like
That's good. So my last question for you, said you were a runner.
I am a
What
runner. Yeah.
has been your favorite race so far?
I think probably my favorite, and that's hard to say because I've literally run like thousands through my life, but I think probably my favorite was back when the used to be the Pac-10 instead of the Pac-12,
Mhm.
and ran the 10,000 meter, which is, you know, 25 laps around the track, at then the Pac-10, which was at my home school, UCLA. So there were a lot of people cheering in the stands, and it was just a really fun time. And it also is still the best time I've ever run, and I don't expect to ever beat that time that I ran when I was in college.
That's cute. Well, thank you. Well, I want to thank you again for sitting down with me. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. It was very much an honor, as I said in the beginning, an honor to be here.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone watching, and have a great rest of your day.